Welcome to Bedtime Stories from the Krishna book by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Story 1 begins after baby Krishna is taken by Vasudeva from Mathura to Vrindavan and appears to be the newborn son of Nanda Maharaja and Mother Yasoda. The birth ceremony of Krishna. Although Krishna was the real son of Vasudeva and Devaki, because of Kamsa's atrocious activities, Vasudeva could not enjoy the birth ceremony of his own son. But Nanda Maharaj, the foster father, celebrated the birth ceremony of Krishna very joyfully. The next day it was declared that a male child was born of Yasoda. According to Vedic custom, Nanda Maharaj called for learned astrologers and Brahmins to perform the birth ceremony. Nanda Maharaj and other members of the family dressed and sat down in front of the birthplace. All the Brahmins who were assembled there on this occasion chanted auspicious mantras according to the rituals, while the astrologers performed the birth ceremony. Nanda Maharaj distributed 200,000 well-decorated, dressed and ornamented cows to the Brahmins. He not only gave cows in charity, but hills of grains decorated with golden bordered garments and many other ornaments. In that ceremony, all the Brahmins assembled there began to chant different kinds of Vedic mantras to invoke all good fortune for the child. Along with this chanting of mantras and songs, bugles and kettle drums sounded outside the house. On this occasion, the joyous vibrations could be heard in all the pasturing grounds and all the houses. Within and outside of the houses, there were varieties of artistic paintings done with rice pulp, and scented water was sprinkled everywhere, even on the roads and streets. Ceilings and roofs were decorated with different kinds of flags, festoons, and green leaves. The gates were also covered in green leaves and flowers. All the cows, bulls, and calves were smeared with a mixture of oil and turmeric and painted with minerals like red oxide, yellow clay, and manganese. The cows wore garlands of peacock feathers and were covered with beautiful coloured cloths and gold necklaces. When all the ecstatic cowherd men heard that Nanda Maharaj, the father of Krishna, was celebrating the birth ceremony of their son, they became spontaneously joyful. They dressed themselves in very costly garments and ornamented themselves with different kinds of earrings and necklaces, and they wore great turbans on their heads. After dressing in this dazzling way, they took various kinds of presentations, and thus they arrived at the house of Nanda Maharaj. As soon as the cowherd women heard that Mother Yasoda had given birth to a child, they became overwhelmed with joy, and they also dressed themselves with various kinds of costly garments and ornaments and smeared beautifully scented cosmetics on their bodies. As the dust on the lotus flower exhibits the exquisite beauty of the flower, all the cowherd women applied the dust of kumkuma on their lotus-like faces. These beautiful women took their different presentations. Overburdened with their heavy hips and swollen breast, the cowherd women could not proceed very quickly towards the house of Nanda Maharaj. But out of ecstatic love for Krishna, they began to walk as quickly as possible. Their ears were decorated with pearl rings. Their necks were decorated with jeweled necklaces. Their lips and eyes were decorated with different kinds of lipstick and ointment, and their hands were decorated with nice golden bangles. As they were very hastily walking over the stone roads, the flower garlands which were decorating their bodies fell to the ground, and it appeared that a shower of flowers was falling from the sky. From the movement of the different kinds of ornaments on their bodies, they were looking even more beautiful. In this way they reached the house of Nanda and Yasoda and blessed the child. "Dear child, please live long just to protect us." While they were blessing child Krishna in this way, they offered a mixture of turmeric powder with oil, yogurt, milk, and water. They not only sprinkled this mixture on the body of child Krishna, but on all other persons who were present there. Also on that auspicious occasion, there were different bands of expert musicians playing. When the cowherd men saw the pastimes of the cowherd women, they became very joyful, and in response, they also began to throw yogurt, milk, clarified butter, and water on the bodies of the cowherd women. Then both parties began to throw butter on each other. Nanda Maharaj was very happy to see the pastimes of the cowherd men and women, and he became very liberal in giving charity to the different singers who were assembled there. Some singers were reciting great verses from the Upanishads and Puranas, and some were singing very sweet songs. There were also many learned Brahmins present, and Nanda Maharaj, being very satisfied on this occasion, began to give them different kinds of garments, ornaments, and more cows in charity. Thus Nanda Maharaj, the foster father of Lord Krishna, began to satisfy the desires of all the men assembled there. He respectively received them and gave them in charity whatever they desired. While Nanda Maharaj was worshipping Lord Vishnu on this occasion and was trying to satisfy all the people there, his only desire was that the newborn child Krishna would be happy. Nanda Maharaj had no knowledge that this child was the origin of Vishnu, but he was praying to Lord Vishnu to protect him. Rohini Devi, the mother of Balaram, was the most fortunate wife of Vasudeva. She was away from her husband, yet just to congratulate Maharaj Nanda on the occasion of the birth ceremony of his son Krishna, she dressed herself very nicely. Wearing a garland, a necklace, and other ornaments, she appeared on the scene and moved hither and thither. According to the Vedic system, a woman whose husband is not at home does not dress herself very nicely. But although Rohini's husband, Vasudeva, was away, she still dressed herself on this occasion. After the birth ceremony, Nanda Maharaj decided to go to Mathura to pay the annual tax to the government of Kamsa. But that will be the next bedtime story. Sweet dreams about Krishna and all his friends in Vrindavan. Namaste.